Hey, everybody, welcome back to Comedy Pinata from Zanies in Nashville. Get to our esteemed panel very shortly. Just got to obviously thank our sponsors, credit cards, student loans, mortgages, car loans, hospital bills. Did you know you have a lot of rights? If any of these ever go to debt collections, that's right. Consumers, not debt collectors, have a huge list of rules they have to abide by, and that's where the law firm at SueTheCollector.com comes in. SueTheCollector.com is a national consumer law firm that only helps consumers. The lawyers at Sue the Collector have helped literally thousands of people turn the tables on debt collectors, putting an end to illegal harassment, abuse, and repeated phone calls that many people find themselves subjected to through no fault of their own. The lawyers at SueTheCollector.com can help everyone in all 50 states. They've won millions for consumers over the years and have canceled over $1 billion in consumer-related debts. John, how much is that's right? It's a
$1 billion.
Oh, well, come on now. Right now, they really want to know, has anyone had their car repossessed? Did you know consumers do not have to allow repo men to take their cars against their will? In most cases, you actually can legally refuse to let them take your car. If you've ever objected to a car repo and they still get your car against your will, you may be sitting on a very valuable case. So call Sue the Collector's office right now at 1-877-BAD-REPO or 1-877-223-7376. Again, that's 1-877-BAD-REPO or 1-877-223-7376. They're open right now to take your call. Again, that's 1-877-BAD-REPO. Oh, here
that's
I am.
me.
Very, very excited about this one. Today we got, of course, you've been here before, Aaron Weber.
Hey, happy to be here, man.
And
Jon Reep.
right, from Country-ish.
Country-ish
Ran
podcast.
for mayor of Hickory.
I was trying to run for mayor.
Run for mayor of Hickory, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the future mayor of Hickory.
You're
I got to wait
future.
4 years.
Gotta-
Turns out I don't actually live in the city of Hickory. All these years I've been talking about Hickory.
What are you like
I'm on the outskirts?
Did they redistrict it
Yes.
or something recently? And
I
that's
found this out. I went to go file. I went down to the Board of Elections to throw my hat in the ring. I was going to see how far it would go before. If I won, I won. I wasn't going to put any money into it. I was just going to put my name on there and see what happens. Just to
But do
kind
you
of drive
know-
the current mayor a little crazy.
Were you doing it for like kicks,
It's a
for the
publicity
funnies,
stunt.
or
Yeah,
okay?
just trying to get in the paper and get people talking about me for country-ish. Really, it's just a
Right.
fun little stunt.
But turns out not living there is kind of a non-starter, huh?
This dude behind the computer's like, okay, and what's your address? He's like, okay. Well, you are not eligible. You do not live in the city. And there's cameras like right there
Oh,
filming us from
really?
Charlotte and everything else. And I was like, whoopsie daisy.
Whoops,
But here's the crazy part.
yeah,
The current mayor
yeah.
annexed his house. So he's a block away from where I live.
Mm-hmm.
But his house, if you look at a map, it is just one block of that's also part of the city. His neighbors aren't part of the city. No one around him is. It's like a little island off where he just annexed his own house.
Gerrymandering
Some
going on.
gerrymandering going on. So
Wow,
I'm
really?
going to hit you up when I've recorded phone calls. There's a lot of video
Ooh, this
already
is
done.
Juicy, John.
I want to come to you with this docuseries at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
I know
This
you do
is
that stuff.
crazy. Hunter Biden's laptop, New York Post, got nothing to do with the annexation
Right.
of the current mayor's house. This
That's
is
right.
crazy. And Aaron, how's everything at Nateland? You're on Nateland's podcast.
Yeah.
Margotzi's
It's been going
podcast,
well,
yeah.
man. Yeah.
And do you guys hit the road together? I know you join on dates. Is it like does Nate bring the Nateland crew, or does it kind of?
He's got his own crop of like New York comics that have been opening for him. Mike Vecchione, Gary Veeder,
Sure.
guys like that. I've only opened for Nate a couple times, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think he gets pretty sick of me and Brian at the podcast. So he's like, I'd like to separate these, make these two different worlds,
Right.
which I
It's
totally
getting to the point
understand.
where it's like he doesn't want to follow you because you're too good.
I don't think we're quite there yet, but I like the way you think.
Yeah.
Have you thought of running for mayor?
Oh yeah, yeah.
In the
Here's
meantime,
what I
yeah.
want to ask. Would you ever be worried that you would win?
I was a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, because it's like it's all fun and games until now
I
you're
win.
mayor.
Yeah.
I looked into it. It's not a hard job. It's really you're just a cheerleader
Come on,
for the
man.
city. Not Hickory
on,
mayor.
man.
New York mayor, way hard. Hickory mayor, not hard. There's one meeting you get to sit on every 2 weeks. You're a tiebreaker vote, and you're just shaking hands and kissing babies. That's all it is.
But aren't you like looking into logistics of expanding business or?
oh yeah, I can bring
all
business
the,
to the city. Sure.
Okay.
How would you?
I say I'm Jon Reep. Don't you want to talk to me? Don't you know who I am? I'm the mayor. At least have a meeting, and then I go like, oh yeah, that guy knows what he's talking about. I just put people together.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I just
And you know what? I
introduce
think we
people.
should go together after this podcast. All three of us could go to Lids. after this, and we'll pick up some new caps.
Okay,
What do you say we get into this, boys?
Let's do it,
Absolutely.
man. I'm
All right.
excited and
Number
nervous.
one,
I
as
gotta
you all
tell
know,
you.
we watch the videos. We're going to talk, comment, it's whatever, give our opinions. And I thought John said something very interesting before this because he said to Aaron, do you get nervous judging other comics? And Aaron honestly was like, yes. And John was like, I want to still be honest, but have an opinion.
And I don't want to start fights with people.
Right.
Because what if it's someone that I actually like, but I actually don't think is funny?
Well, it's funny because the one time I've done this, we had a clip of Taylor Tomlinson on, who I think is very funny,
I was on
very
that
talented.
with you, yeah.
Well, Lucy was here.
Okay.
I think you know her.
Yeah.
And Lucy was here, and I said, "Look, I know the jokes are well crafted. They're like great jokes. I'm sitting there as a comic going, oh, it's a good joke, but I'm not laughing at the joke." And in the dissemination of it, Lucy said, "Well, I don't think you're her target demo. You're not, you know, if you were in your 20s or 30s, you might find this funnier." I was like,
true.
wow, that's a really good point, and I've been thinking about it ever since that day.
So you're saying
And it's
that's
like
my
such a-
loophole out of if it's something I don't like, I'm like, well, that's not for me. It wasn't for
Yeah.
me to begin with.
Yeah.
Therefore, you can't get mad at me because it wasn't for me.
Right.
Loophole.
But I'm Jon Reep. Don't you want to talk to me? But I think that is the conundrum of this because we all have our opinions off stage for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And with close friends, you have your opinions. But I think this is one where it's like you could you could walk the line, or you could be respectful, you could be,
Yeah.
you know, all those things. But I don't think I've gone to the Seinfeld and Kevin James.
Yeah.
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 Right.
All right.
Well, I think there's also an interesting dynamic for me. Everyone we're going to watch, I'm guessing, is either on par with you or below you career-wise. There's a good. Everybody we're watching is more successful than me.
Well, I
you
would
know,
say
so
that. Yesterday we had Black Ron.
Black Ron.
We had a
never
comic
heard
from
of him.
Chocolate Sundays on. Never heard of this guy.
Okay.
I'm an LA comic. You know, for many years, never heard of him. Pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Black
we liked
Rom
it.
with a Q.
Yes.
Okay, I've seen him on a poster. I'm not familiar with his stand-up.
Okay,
Okay.
I was like, wow, you're either really hilarious,
Yeah.
which you are, but I was like, wow, okay, but you actually know him.
Uh-huh.
Okay, wow, this is
Well, there you
crazy.
go.
Okay, Black Ron.
Shout out one more time.
Black Ron. Here we go. Oh God, this is great.
Sam Kinison.
Sam Kinison.
All right.
I'm very excited.
This one
about
I have
this.
no problem being honest since he is no longer with us.
And I'll tell you, it's always awesome to see Dangerfield's packed on these old clips
Is
because
that Dangerfield's?
yeah, you could see the marquee right there.
Oh, yeah.
That
okay.
club was a fucking time capsule in New York City for so many years. Bill Burr and I used to go there all the time. Sherrod Small. There was a core of like a handful of cellar comics that we could do it, and you do it because you get a half-hour set. You could
Yeah.
not get a half-hour set anywhere in the city, but they still had rotary phones. The Dangerfields right there had never been dusted. So like you go in and you just see soot on top of it. It was so disgusting.
gosh.
The food there was horrendous. The waitstaff had been there since the like late 70s or early 80s, like lifers.
Wasn't there a huge piano on stage?
There's a huge piano on stage.
Yeah, it took up a lot of room.
Took up a lot of room.
The one time I performed there, it was like the comics were like, it's kind of a tourist trap.
Oh, yeah.
Where you walk in there, and I was on at like 11:30 or midnight in front of 20 people who were all from Europe and
That's
didn't
good.
know like the little tiny things and the little nuances of a joke
Right.
that were very American. Specific references, and it was just not good. But they were so nice. The staff was nice. I didn't notice the dust on the.
Fucking brutal. Any thoughts on Kinison from you, Aaron?
I've never sat down and watched Sam Kinison. I'm
never?
aware of his influence, of how
Oh,
important he
my
is. I know the
God.
story about how he died.
Yeah.
I've never just sat down and watched his stand-up.
This is one of those where the Dangerfield Young Comedian specials back in the 80s, I was a kid back then, but, you'd sneak out and watch HBO or whatever. This is one of those sets where you're like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
So this is 1984. What stage in Sam Kinison's career is this?
I'm not sure where this clip is I don't know if Dangerfield, I don't think this is one of the Young Comedian specials. Maybe it is. But he had gone back there to do another set or two. But I'll tell you, it's one of those things where I have the set at home in DVD, and over COVID, I went back and watched them all.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Dom Irrera's set still holds up.
Yeah.
Evergreen.
I can see
And
that.
Kinison, oh my God, this is like, it's so,
I'm
it's so
excited.
great. All right.
Yeah, I think 84 is
Yeah.
probably he's
Probably the
peaking
window.
or he's right about to peak.
Okay.
like I said, I'm just trying to help. I'm trying to just do whatever I can for people. Like the World Hunger thing, the USA for Africa. Isn't that great? You guys hear the song? Nice song, isn't it? Beautiful. I'm like anybody else on the planet. I'm very moved by world hunger. I see the same commercials. Those little kids starving and very depressed. And I watch these things on TV, and I see those commercials, and I look at it, and I go, God, how cruel, Just see a little kid out there, and I go, fuck, I know the film crew could give this kid a sandwich. The kid's not out there, filming a letter from home with a Betamax, huh? There's a director 5 feet away going, don't feed him yet! Sandwich out here! It doesn't work unless he looks hungry! But I'm not trying to make fun of world hunger. Matter of fact, I think I have the answer, because I spend a lot of time working it out. And if you want to stop world hunger, stop sending them food. Don't send these people another bite, folks. You want to send them something? You want to help? Send them U-Hauls. Send them U-Hauls, some luggage. Send them a guy out there that goes, hey, we've been driving out here every day with your food for like the last, 30, 40 years. And we were driving out here a day across the desert, and it occurred to us there wouldn't be world hunger if you people would live where the food is! Understand that you live in a fucking desert! It grows out here! Nothing's gonna grow out here! You see this? Huh? See this? This is sand. Yeah. It's sand. You know it's gonna be 100 years from now, huh? It's gonna be sand! Fucking desert! Get your kids, get your shit, we'll make one trip! We'll take you to where the food is! We have deserts in America, we just don't live in them! Oh! You guys been a great crowd, thank you very much.
Yeah.
God damn.
I remember this. That's one of his
I
signature
remember that bit.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
What do you think, Aaron?
I love
Since you're not familiar with him, what do you think?
I thought it was great. I had no idea where he was going at the beginning. I was like,
Yeah.
man, this is a long build-up to something. And
Yeah.
and I knew him as a guy who would yell a lot and stuff. So I was like, this is like reserved energy here at the beginning. That was a great bit. I've never heard that.
Oh, God. It still holds up.
It's great. He starts off slow.
Yeah.
And he's like, you kind of even mumble a little bit. It's like, to make the screaming even better, he starts off kind of very inward and reserved and just kind of like, commenting on society. And then all of a sudden, he hits the point, and it's like, we're off and running, and then it's there for another 3-5 minutes of screaming.
I love it.
But I've always loved Sam Kinison. I just like, he was one of the first comedians I heard, right up there with Andrew Dice Clay. That at what, maybe I was 17 or something, hearing something sort of R-rated for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're like, I want to hear more of this. What else is he going to talk about? He talked about, what was it, necrophilia.
Oh, yeah.
He had a joke about
I have
necrophilia.
seen that bit. Yeah.
So I was like,
Well, he was like the first rock star. Because remember, he was literally hanging out with all the rock stars at like the Roxy from the Comedy Store. He'd go up, and then he had like the Wild Thing video with all
Jessica Hahn.
all the hair metal band. They got together to do a super group with him to do the video. But that bit is so goddamn funny. And it's not just like he's relying on screaming as the punchline. There's still... when he's talking, I'm like, see what this is? It's sand. Just talking down to them.
Come here. He grabs him by the back of the neck. Come here. See this right here? Right? It's like, he's he was part of a thing called the Outlaws of Comedy. It was him.
Yeah.
And,
Wasn't Schubert part of that?
Schubert may have been a part of that.
I think
There
Schubert
was like 4 or 5 of
Schubert
those
was part of
guys.
that crew.
Yeah. Did you ever meet Sam?
Never met Sam.
Yeah, I didn't either.
No. He died in a car accident. What year was that? I don't think I was.
Not
I
long
was even
after
in comedy.
this. I think he was just getting sober, and was driving back from Las Vegas to L.A. And then hit a big
Just
truck.
newly engaged or newly married,
Something like that.
But it sounded like he wrestled with the devil, got his life together, and it ironically all goes to shit. And I think his brother was in the car behind and witnessed it.
Okay.
Which is like,
gosh.
Can you imagine that?
Who's the comedian I'm thinking of that's at the store a lot? Carl LaBove.
That's right.
Carl
Who
LaBove.
recently passed.
Also recently passed. But Carl LaBove, I felt like I learned a lot about Sam Kinison through Carl because they hung out all the time.
Well, Marin too.
Yeah.
Marin, I don't think he was part of the Outlaws, but hung out with those guys quite often back in his day.
Yeah. I would have loved to have been in the, green room with those guys at that time if I could have fast forwarded. If I was a little older. What would that have been like if I was in my 23 and those guys were only like 35 and we're all
forget
hanging
who
out?
it was who told the story, but I think maybe Argus Hamilton told me the story, but Yakov Smirnoff. So Yakov Smirnoff comes, he's just past the cellar, right?
Okay.
Or past the store.
Yeah.
And he comes into that back green room where there's still it's still the green room from back in the 80s, and they have that mini piano with the mirrored glass on top, whatever. And Yakov comes in, and it's Rob Williams, it's like Kinison and Yakov and just a bunch of hanger-ons, people that are partying. And Yakov comes in, and he looks at the table. He's like, oh, my God, this table's filthy. It's dirty. And he starts wiping it all off. They go, whoa, what the fuck? And he was wiping off all the cocaine. He thought it was dust.
Right.
And they flipped out, and I don't think it stopped them because they're on the floor doing all the cocaine.
I believe that.
That was Yakov Smirnoff's introduction to cocaine at the Comedy Store.
This is dirty. My country, we have Windex.
Yeah, all this dust formed in lines across here. That's crazy.
Hey, what is that? Perfectly formed lines?
Bunch of razor blades out and dollar bills.
Yeah, dude. I don't know if I could have hung with those guys. They
No.
partied hard,
No, that's one thing. You always hear cocaine being associated with partying and comedy.
Yeah.
I've seen it once in my life. I won't say the comic who I saw do it, but I only saw it once. I don't think it's as prevalent as it used to be. I don't know what your guys' experience is.
It went away.
I know you did it before.
Yeah,
the
right
tape
before
tonight,
here.
but
Yeah. I have some if you need it. It's just fentanyl, though. I just have
Just
fentanyl.
fentanyl.
No, it seems like it went away, and now I hear it's coming back, and I'm hearing because of all the fentanyl stories. You hear it in the news
Oh,
all
yeah.
the time. These kids think that they're getting coke and it's fentanyl. They're killing themselves. So I think it kind of came back for a minute, but maybe the fentanyl's going to run it back off again. I don't know.
It doesn't seem to be.
Yeah.
You're still doing it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Not
either
me.
doing that or you're a sober vegan now. That feels like what everybody's doing.
Right. Yeah, you're 100%
I hear
opposite.
stories about comedy where people are doing blow in the green rooms, everybody's getting hammered, and I just haven't seen that, for better or worse.
Yeah.
That's just not what's going on really anymore.
Yeah, I mean, rarely do I even see comics going full tilt, boozing.
Yeah.
I mean, the few times I come and hang out, I'm not shy of a cocktail myself, but every now and then, I mean, I rarely see people really truly going,
Yeah.
man, let's fucking make a night of it.
Yeah.
It's rare. I don't know.
Yeah.
Even back at the store, we, when we were all there, we'd always kind of go off campus. We'd go somewhere else.
Yes. Well, there are times where if it's a Sunday night and there's 7 people in there,
Yeah.
you're like, all right, I might as well get shit-faced with
shit-faced,
everybody. Yeah. They're going to give me free drinks anyway.
Yeah.
This is already depressing. I'm going to have fun.
Yeah.
In order to have fun, I have to get shit-faced.
It's only until the last few years I've felt that. I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys have had situations where you've been on stage and, it's not the greatest attendance, but
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna drink while I'm doing this show.
Yep.
It's rarely happened, but Saturday the late show or Friday late show is usually when I'll
Yeah.
have a drink on stage. I rarely do it.
Yeah.
Like here I'll do a showcase show, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever?
Oh, yeah.
Kick back?
It depends. I mean, I got a little pre-show beverage. I'll do
Yeah.
a Tito's and sugar-free Red Bull, just to get the energy and a little bit of vodka. It gets me I'm having fun. This is not just a job. I'm allowed to have fun. And I just do the one.
Yeah.
And then that's the pre-show beverage. Post-show, if
Yeah.
it went well, it could be a beer. It could be more vodka with Sprite or, something else.
Sprite,
I
you're
try to get
nuts,
rid of the
man.
Red Bull part of it. That's all.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're
after
not
the
drinking on
show.
stage, really? During it?
No, I might have one. Sometimes people will, depending on where you're at, will bring you. I hate when that happens where a waiter or
yeah.
waitress comes over and says, the table over there bought you this. I'm like, okay, well, now you just shit on that joke. The punchline's over.
Yeah.
Right.
But you can't really say that.
But also
'cause
you're on the
look like
hook
an
because now you
asshole.
got to do it because they're like,
Then
fucking
you got,
do it.
yeah, come on, man. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Aaron?
No. I think if you ever see me sit down, that'll be like, oh, he's given up.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be my sign of defeat. If you ever walk in here, there's 5 people and I'm sitting on the stool, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, he
Yeah.
tapped out.
It's
Wow.
over.
Stepped out.
I don't know if I've never sat down. it was ingrained in me early on that that's like something you have to earn, and now I'm super conscious of it, and I don't know if I have the energy to sit down. If you see me sitting down, it's a wrap, dude. I might be quitting comedy after that show.
Yeah, there was a lot of people would get mad at you if you sat down and you didn't like earn that. Like it's only Cosby can sit down.
Right.
You know, that was his thing. You have to earn that right.
Or Patrice.
I'm talking about before. the drugging and everything.
Like Patrice would sit down, but he was diabetic and had no circulation.
That makes sense.
It's like,
Chappelle
Right.
can sit down. Attell
Marin.
sits down, but he can't breathe.
Right.
You know, so he has to take a seat. Ralphie May, all for different reasons.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they,
half of them because health related.
It's hard to stand.
All right, what do we give Kinison? I give that a 10 out of 10. That's a bit that stood the test of time. Seeing it, even like today, I've seen that bit a bunch of times, and I'm still like welling up on the tears.
I'm curious of what today's generation would think of that.
Oh,
You know, what would they think of this?
I'd love to like have you watch like his hour and just see what you would think of it. I mean, you're less like I think woke than most comics. Not saying you're not respectful or whatever, but
Right.
I just think you're probably more symbolic of like the newer generation of
Probably.
like, what's acceptable and what isn't.
yeah, but I think still comedians, you're still corrupted in some
Yeah.
way. So I'm always the worst judge. I give that a 10 out of 10. It's actually kind of a progressive point that he's making.
Yeah.
You know, there's that famous image of a small, emaciated African child, and there's a vulture behind him. You ever seen that famous picture? It was like a Time Picture of the Year or something. Yeah. And this vulture stalking him. And the photographer got so much flack for not stepping in and stopping.
Right.
That the photographer killed himself years
Oh,
later.
no kidding.
Because
Jesus Christ.
I think the kid ended up dying or something. It's like a good point that he's making too in the bit.
Well, I'm wondering, like, if like a younger, extra MAGA-weric conservative heard that bit, would they get mad? Like, what? Don't bring him here.
We'll just ask Rob Schneider.
Well, I don't want to bring in U-Haul. Don't bring him over here. Leave him over there. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But I love Sam Kinison, and I love the bit. It's one of his classics.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say that's a 9.
9 out of 10. Okay. All right. Well,
I
Kinison,
want some wiggle room in case there's somebody better.
our front runner. Here we go. Number 2. What do we got here? Oh yeah.
Oh, Doug Stanhope.
Stanhope. Oh, boy.
Fuck yeah. I love Stanhope. I mean, there's just what else are you gonna say?
Yeah.
I love the guy. One of my favorite lines. I was in Pittsburgh, and I was doing the early show. He was doing the late show, and I stuck around and watched. I'll never forget his opening line. He's like, you know, a lot of comics like to do jokes about the difference between men and women. You know what the difference between men and women is? One of them ain't at my shows. I was like, wow. I mean, that was such a great opening
Is this
line.
all dudes at the show?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And have you ever heard? I've heard Brian Dorfman tell this story. He did the first show here after 9/11. Stanhope did.
Oh, wow.
And it was, and I might be misremembering this. It was like a benefit for firefighters or something. This is the first show after 9/11, and it's Doug Stanhope.
Oh,
and
boy.
he said he walked the entire crowd.
Oh,
He walked out and he goes, "Where's your God now?" I mean, this is September 12th. I wish I remembered more of
In
the
the
details.
South. In
but
the South.
Yeah,
In the
yeah. In
South.
Nashville,
Yeah.
Tennessee.
oh my
That's
God.
that's on Dorfman. That was on Dorfman. That's who you're bringing in on November, September 12th.
But I think he's the guy that, like, you know, there's no, like, he is what he is. I mean, shopping at the Goodwill stores, wearing that stuff. Like, I've heard crazy stories about, like, where he lives in the ranch. And,
Yes. He married
Bisbee,
Bisbee.
right?
He lives out in the
Yeah.
desert in some crazy house. His mom passed away, and he was there with her. I think he helped her die. Like, she was terminally ill, and she wanted to die, and he was there, like, to help her.
Sure.
Legally somehow. I've heard tales of him just getting drunk as hell on stage and getting naked. And then selling CDs at the end of a show. He says, like, if I sell
butt
this
naked?
last one, I will be totally naked. Have you heard this
Like,
one?
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
just
no.
totally naked in the club. There's pictures of him just hanging out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like, we thought a shirt coming off was funny. He's been getting naked for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Fully
Wow.
naked. Yeah.
He's kind of the last of the Mohicans. It feels like this breed
Yeah.
of this
Yeah.
breed of comedians. He's still out there.
True. I think just a blunt force instrument. All right, let's watch some Doug Stanhope here.
You occupy You fucking filthy Portland hippie selves. Because you hate the 1%. And you hate the banks because of their predatory lending practices against the people and enslave them in a lifetime of debt. What'd you do about it? You stunk up a park for almost a year. I occupy far more efficiently. Maybe you should look to me for leadership. I hate the banks as well, as we all do. How did I fuck them? I spent 3 hours jacking up Mother's Chase Bank Visa card after she's dead up to its $10,000 limit, buying dumb shit that no one needs and sticking them with the bill because she had no estate except for that blind fucking last cat. If you want to repo that, have at it. That actually caused damage to the bank. Not sitting around with a dog with a kerchief and a cardboard sign, slapping on drums in a drum circle. The fucking Occupy movement was such a letdown because you seemed like me, angry, and we're gonna take to the streets, and holy shit, around the globe, people are, fuck this, we're gonna do something. And what did you do? You fucked up a park. All you fucked up in a year is some guy's day who wanted to throw a frisbee for his dog, but he couldn't because you're all camped out there. You hate the banks? Don't fuck up the park, fuck up the bank. Who's in charge of this project? Next time, me. We don't really have leadership. You needed some. You have 500 angry people in a park. Go break them up into squads of 20. You can fuck up every branch of Bank of America in a 50-mile radius. Go there. And not as anarchists either, throwing bricks through the windows. What are you, a fucking teenager? Have some ingenuity. You line up as customers at 8 o'clock in the morning. They only have 2 desks to do actual commerce other than cashing checks and shit. You clog up those 2 desks as bogus customers, sit down, cross your legs, apply for frivolous loans all day long. That's a lot of paperwork for every frivolous. Yes, I need $1 billion for an ant farm. Sharpen some pencils. That's a big stack of paperwork.
That's great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I hadn't seen that bit.
I hadn't seen that video.
Yeah, I love it. I love him. I love it. I'm glad you're right, Aaron. He's the last of a dying breed.
But he knows how the world works.
Yeah.
Carlin-esque, where he...
Right.
You're not just saying broad strokes of like, fuck this, fuck that. He knows how the system works, and he disseminates it, breaks it down, and comes up with creative solves like he just did, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I like when comics use just the perfect word. I don't know if there's anything funnier than $1 billion for an ant farm.
Yeah.
Just
That's
ant
right,
farm
yeah.
is such a funny...
And the way he said it, he had his drink out here, for an ant farm.
Yeah.
Like
away,
I'm just
yeah.
making up something stupid. But I love it. I love the bit. I think I love it when you're hearing a bit, you think like, yeah, that is a great idea.
Yeah.
Like, why did they stink up the park? Why didn't they go to the bank? That's actually like a legit thought,
Yeah.
So I love it. As mayor of Hickory, these are the things I would do.
Were you in New York when Occupy Wall Street was going on, or you already moved at that point?
I think I was out of there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wasn't around for that. I know like Ted Alexandro was a big supporter of that. So that was like my...
Was he out there with him?
Yeah, yeah. He's
Okay.
pretty deep entrenched in Democratic causes and stuff. So I follow him, and I kind of saw what was going on. But yeah, I agree with like Stanhope's position, like you were saying. It's just like,
Yeah, it's
what are you
a
guys doing?
smarter thing to have done.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Chris Rock's bullet bit, right? It's like charge $5,000 for a bullet.
Bullet control?
It's like, yeah. It's like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
great.
Right.
Thinking outside the box, right?
Yeah.
Social commentary.
Keep your guns. Bullets are what, like $5,000 a bullet or something crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would probably work. I think it's great. All right. Are we rating this one?
Yeah. I mean, I give that a 9 out of 10. I mean, it's great. Really, really great.
Yeah.
I think I appreciate the construction and what he's communicating more than I laughed. I was laughing, no joke. I was laughing, but I really appreciate. just how dense that was.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to it. He's saying something. There's a lot of jokes along with it, but I just appreciate the creativity and intelligence behind the joke.
I agree, and I'm going to give him an extra point because the way he started that set, he is in front of a crowd and he is berating them. Like he's not. It's the opposite of pandering.
Right,
He's
yeah.
like, "You dumb fucks," or whatever. He insulted them right out the gate, and then got them.
He's like opposite Bill Maher.
Right.
Because everything Bill Maher says, they all fucking clap.
Yeah. Woo. So I like that. It's brave. I'm gonna give it a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
All right.
All right.
Love it. I think we can all agree
Go.
we love Doug Stanhope. Here we go. Let's see. Shane Gillis.
Oh, love Shane.
Shane Gillis.
Oh, yeah.
This episode should just be called Dude Soup. All right. Shane Gillis, any thoughts on Shane? Obviously, most people have heard of Shane via, the SNL thing, which I always thought was bullshit, even as an Asian American. I thought it was ridiculous. Right. But you talk about somebody that's really dug themselves out of a hole, and I think kind of dissipated that. And I think he's a big part of the New York scene, one of the bigger names in the New York scene. And I'm just so glad that he's kind of getting past that. So I like to bring it up any chance I get.
For sure.
You know him personally?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's he from?
I don't know where he's from.
Outside Philadelphia, Mechanicsburg,
Okay.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I didn't know much about him at all.
That sounds like a very posh area, right?
Mechanicsburg?
Anything outside of Philadelphia has got to be shitty. So it's got to be like Mechanicsburg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Recycleville.
Yeah. Recycleville. So I didn't know him until that whole controversy with SNL. So I don't know anything about his stand-up. I didn't even know exactly what he did to get in trouble. I know he was imitating an Asian person or
I
something.
think he said chink. He said chinks,
so
chinks or whatever.
okay,
He was on a
okay.
podcast, and I think he was just trying to be sarcastic and shitty or whatever. But,
And that's what did it, huh?
That's what did it. That's
Okay.
what got him off SNL.
Well,
Well, that's what
I mean,
happens. Every time somebody gets cast on SNL, somebody from Vulture or some shitty website combs through everybody's social media feed to find something awful. I remember Jon Reep, who's like one of the nicest guys in the world. He was on a season of SNL. He used to open for me. And I saw that they were trying to peg him with some misogynistic shit. I'm like, guys, this is first off, whatever the article is, it was such a stretch. But B, it's like, he's the nicest guy. No, he's like Mitt Romney of comedy. He's just Melba Toast. He's like a sweet guy.
Yeah, yeah. You're searching way too hard for something if you go in that guy's past specifically. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see.
What are your thoughts, Aaron, on Shane?
Oh, I think he's one of the funniest guys working right now. He's starting to sell a lot of tickets, it looks like, so it's exciting. I remember when he put this particular clip up on Twitter a couple years ago. It's great.
Well, that's what I like about the New York comics, is the New York comics kind of glum together, a lot of those guys, and they were all there to kind of create this firewall with each other and support each other via social media, plug each other's shit, all that stuff. A lot of them self-produced YouTube specials because the industry ignored them. And now, all of a sudden, the industry's kind of interested in them, which is kind of interesting, as opposed to the West Coast, when the shit hit the fan, they all fucking scurried from each other. They're all a bunch of rats in coffee cans. So I really respect these guys. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
So here, let's watch a little Shane Gillis.
I don't know. I feel like we could all agree that like the Special Olympics is like a good program. Right? Especially, I just feel like the guy who came up with it had to be like a real risk taker. To even suggest that idea is crazy. The first guy, just some dude in a board meeting, like, I got an idea. We should be racing these motherfuckers. What? Town over said they had the fastest ones. I think we can beat them. I start fucking racing them. How many more macaroni necklaces do we need?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I see some of you trying not to laugh at that. I understand. I've tried to feel guilty about that joke, and I can't. It's funny. And look, I heard one of you over there be like, it was a woman. I know, it was a woman. It was like Maria Shriver that invented it. It was like the Kennedy family. Maria Shriver invented the Special Olympics. Arnold Schwarzenegger helped, which I hate to do an Arnold impression, but all right, it's halftime. Special Olympians are losing. And then Arnold comes in to give him a fucking pep talk. He's like, come on. It's like, you are losing. Nah. And then all the kids are like, nah. And it's a beautiful language that only they know. You can't figure it out. I still see some of you frowning. It's all right. I understand.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Great.
It's great.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's a 10 out of 10.
Dude. Right.
It's a 10
It's
out
got to
of 10
be.
bit.
I'm all
It's such a
for
good
it.
bit.
Like to me, there's no taboo subject.
Yeah.
You can talk about if people are laughing at the end of the day in that room. That's what was going on. You can talk about anything.
Yeah.
And I like the way he did it. He goes, "We can all agree that the Special Olympics is a good thing." Right away.
And right there, you're like,
like,
all right, I'm in.
Here we go.
me my
What's
fork and knife.
happening?
Where's the
Where-
buffet?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
But he that's, again, it's a smart way to introduce the bit. It's like, all right, there's a million ways to come at it, but it's like, let's
Start with
dip
what
our
we
toes
all
in the water
agree
here.
with. Yeah. We
Let me
all
get you
agree it's a good
comfortable.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a grade on his special. It's like a 7-minute Special Olympics chunk, and that's what he closes on, and that kind of launches into it. It's just so great. I just think he's the funniest.
I mean, that's amazing because you could close right there, but to know there's still a back half
There's a
that's even
whole-
better that ramps up.
yeah.
It's like, wow,
Yeah.
I'd love to see that then.
I didn't know where he was going when he said, oh, I know this lady over here said it was invented by a woman. I thought he was going to go down just that road about
Yeah, I
just
thought there was gonna be
well, of
something
course
about
it's
that,
with
yeah.
women,
But he's reacting
But
to
he
the
did.
crowd.
He just and it was
Stuck with the bit.
Was it Maria? Who
Maria
was-
Shriver, I guess.
that was Arnold's wife.
Yeah. At the
Yeah.
time,
Okay. See, I didn't know that. So he actually learned something as
Yeah.
well.
Well, that's something the college football bit he does too. He's educating you along the way. He's got another bit about
Alabama football.
Yeah.
That documentary. Yeah.
So he's kind of I don't know. It's like watching something on the History Channel where it's like it's got nothing to do with history, but they give you these little tidbits every now and then. It's like it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd watch more of that. I hadn't seen much of his work at all, but I like that a lot.
I like the macaroni. Nicholas Tech. It's so fucking funny.
That was good.
But again, it's like it's taking a fun premise, expanding upon it, and then drilling deep. Because I think he probably went on Wikipedia. He's like, let me look this shit up. Schwarzenegger's involved, okay, and then you're daydreaming. And, I like when you're digging for gold. You just keep going. You don't keep it on the surface. And that's a bit, obviously, if there's another 3 or 4 minutes and it's closure,
Yeah.
pretty great.
Yeah,
Does he
for sure.
do any kind of act out? Because that's where you might insult or hurt people's feelings.
He does end up doing an act out.
Does he?
But it's a
Okay.
story about him. He used to coach Special Olympics basketball.
Okay.
And it's a story about his team, and then I don't want to ruin it, but yeah, he does do an act out at one
Okay.
point. That is so funny. Yeah, I think about it all the time. But it's one of those things. It's like you're watching a clip. The whole room's dying laughing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you can't get mad at anybody.
It's like you've
you
went
know?
this far.
It's
Might
like-
as well go ahead and complete the mission.
Right.
If I get one more laugh after of doing something stupid, all right, here we go.
Yeah. What are you
But he's
dancing
also
around this?
knowing that he was part of it. I mean, that only validates the viewpoint
For
as well.
sure.
Yeah.
I think in the joke, he's like, I coached him. What did you guys do? He's like,
Right.
yeah, I have the right to
Oh,
joke about this
Yeah.
a little bit,
It's like Lampanelli when she was banging black guys. It's like, no, I can talk about black guys. Just bang them. It's like, oh, okay. I guess that's it, right?
right. You can do whatever you want now.
Yeah.
That's it.
She would call herself a urinal at the Apollo.
Yes.
More dicks have been in me than a urinal. I'm like, wow.
Did you see the recent video that's circulating again where she loses it? Like she's just goes off on a crowd. Like something.
I did just see that,
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
know why it's recirculating.
Yeah, it's tough to watch.
Yeah.
Wait,
she's
was
just-
it? But it's from
just a,
years ago, though, right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it is
it's
a few
from
years ago, yeah.
but for whatever reason, it's popping up again. I don't know why.
That's the worst when you got something out there.
Yeah.
Oy.
Why does it keep coming back though? Like I've already seen this. I don't know why. What algorithm's making
There's a
this
new
come back
generation of
again?
kids, John. They can't let it go. Well, I think Shane
Well, had we
Shane might have won our.
did we
our
rate
round.
this one?
Yeah,
I haven't
I
rated
gave
it
it.
yet.
I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, so did I.
It's either a 9 or a 10 for me. I'll just go 9.
Okay.
Well, I think it's. I
I
think
think
this might be
Stanhope might win for me.
a three-way tie today. I think it might be a three-way tie with Shane, Stanhope, and Kinison, which is pretty awesome. Pretty good gold medals.
What a great group right there, though. I mean, these are all winners right here.
Well, this is where the show takes a hard left.
Oh boy.
Here we go. We got to watch one of
If it's
us
me again,
guys.
I'm gonna get pissed off.
Oh fuck, man! No, I was just
Yes.
as I'm opening this, I'm going. We haven't had one of my clips in a long time, and this is. Now this is what
Do you know what it is?
I have no idea what this is, but we kind of talked about this the other day. Let me see what the title is. Oh no!
Different kinds of Asians. Different kinds of white people.
This is one of those bits where early on, you're like, I'm embarrassed by some bits. This would be one of them. This would be. Oh, I even know how.
But do you
Wait,
like
at
the way
the time you felt that way, or is it looking back?
At the time, I thought it was cool because I think I know exactly why I did it.
Okay.
And I'll tell you guys in a second. But this is.
Let's do it.
Hold on, where's the camera for me? I'm apologizing right now for this fucking bit. Okay. I'm so sorry. This is fucking shit. Okay, here we go.
It's not gonna be that. We all. Dude, you're worst critic.
Tiger Woods, great black golfer, also half Asian. Nobody ever says he's an Asian golfer. Here's what I know coming from a mixed background myself. Barack Obama, half black, half white. You're going to be a black president. Tiger Woods, half black, half Asian. You're going to be a black golfer. Steve Byrne, gook. I have been called gook, chink, pan-face, slope, short round, data. I killed your dad in Vietnam. I've heard all those things, okay? My last name is Byrne. I've never been called Irish in my life. I was in Dublin on St. Patrick's Day going on, hey, kiss me, I'm Irish. No, you're not. What the hell do I have to do? When you're mixed, we gotta call you something. What do we call you? Here's what we call you. Whatever dilutes the water, whatever kind of messes up the whitey, that's what you are. It's as easy as that. I've been called all those things. I killed your dad in Vietnam. That's brutal. I'll never forget when I found out I was Asian. I was in 4th grade. I was in 4th grade on a playground. Some kid comes up to me. Hey, Steve, you're a chink. All right, cool. Thanks, man.
No joke there. Fucking awful.
I had no idea what it meant. And as I got older, I was like, ooh, that's mean. But technically, most of those things that people call me don't even apply to me. There's all different kinds of Asians, you know? Some guy comes up to me, hey, you're a chink. I'm actually half Korean, not Chinese, so I don't know what to tell you. Pearl Harbor, I'm actually half Korean, so maybe vent out your anger to sushi bar. Take care, brother.
Oh, God. Well, it's very informative. And it's
All different
laughs.
kinds of Asians, all different kinds of white people. I don't go to a white guy, say a bunch of white stuff. Like an Italian, Anthony Roselli. You stupid Mick. I'm not Irish. Whatever, Jew. I'm not Jewish. Don't make you horny, baby. What are you talking about, dude?
Stop this. Please stop. I can't do it. Oh, the whole fucking bit? Oh, God.
You were doing.
Guys, I'm sorry.
That was Austin Powers at the. I'll make you horny, baby. Yeah,
Austin Powers.
baby. Yeah. I liked it, Steve. I don't know why you don't like it.
In
What is
2
it?
minutes, I think there were 2 jokes in the whole 2 minutes. It was a lot of salesmanship in that,
You
guys.
had a point you were trying to make.
I think.
And so you're trying to put a lot of information in there.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
think.
still, you said that wasn't a joke. That the joke was, as a kid, you not knowing chink was a bad thing and just
Right.
going, thanks. That's kind of funny because this kid doesn't know. So that's a laugh. You know, I mean,
Right,
it's not really
right.
technically a joke.
This is somebody attempting to do something that they're not. I'm trying to be a black belt, but I'm like a green belt here. You know what I mean? And I think now, 20 plus years in this, I think 24 years now. Now I finally figured out how to say that because there's a bit I have in my new hour that I'm about to film for streamer, but I finally figured that bit out. So I went back to that because I never cracked it, and I think it's like I finally got to that point where I was like, okay, now I'm good enough that I can articulate it, and it's entertaining, and it's saying something, but more than anything, it's fucking funny.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
And I think that there's not enough funny in there. There's points to be made, but it's just not funny.
That's such a high-level premise when you think about it. The premise is anything that dilutes whiteness
Yeah.
becomes your identity.
Yeah.
That's such a rich premise for a bit.
Yeah.
You're right. That's hard to tackle.
That's kind of what happens.
I set the premise, but I didn't thread the needle. That's what it is. I had, scatterings of jokes in there, but it wasn't great. The attempt was there,
it was
but
working.
the execution was
It was
not.
working, and you looked like you were having fun, and you were.
I was having fun because I didn't know any better.
Did you seem like? Did you when you watch this now? Do you remember what it was like being in the moment, or is it a different?
Well, I knew
thing
what
watching
was
it
happening
now?
because my first hour was called happy hour, right? And your first hour is your first 10 years of comedy. It's all your greatest shit, right? And so I did it, and then it came out and it did okay. It did well, but it was on Comedy Central at the time, but it didn't have an impact. I'm like, why the fuck did it not do well? I'm doing mac and cheese, I'm laying down on all these fun bits, and it kills in the clubs. And I forget who it was, but they were like, anybody could do your stuff. Your joke could be said by anybody. We don't know who you are.
Wow.
And that's when I was like, okay, well, what am I? And I'd gone to China, to Beijing for the Olympics with a good friend of mine. And when I was in China, you go around, you're meeting people from all over the world. It's a global event. And they're like, what are you? I'm like, oh, I'm American. But when I'm back here in America, I'm Korean and Irish. But then people look at me, it's like, oh, you're Asian. So it started this whole dialogue of like, well, what am I? And so that trip happened at the perfect time. So I was attempting to address my identity in this special. And I look, if you look at Happy Hour and then this, I'm really proud of the attempt of trying to steer away from just silly sex shit, like hitting your head on a bedpost and doggy style and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Completely different. But again, it's like, okay, well, I'm glad for the pivot, but I just wish it was better.
We all say that about our stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish. All
Guys, I'm going to sit in a stool this next hour. That's when you know I gave up.
But and we're also our worst critic. as
Sure.
well.
Right.
I thought that was great. You in the beginning, I know you had somewhere to go, and it looked like you couldn't wait to get there. Like it seemed like you were like, here it comes. Like I got this. I got this.
Well, here's another
It
thing.
was like-
I talk fast.
Yeah,
in
I was
Happy
gonna
Hour,
say,
I
it
talk
seemed like
fast
you
in
were
this.
going fast.
Because I always heard fast is funny, And so I always did that. And then what I didn't realize, again, at the time, being, this might be 14 years in, is that you can't do that for 60 minutes. You gotta be able to shift gears.
Yeah.
And if you are going like that for 60 minutes, people are gonna go, all right, this
It's
tone, the
exhausting.
cadence,
Yeah.
just like you gotta have shift points in there at some point too. So that's another thing, a hard lesson from watching this one, because you hear me talking like this, and and it's just like, it's 60 minutes. You gotta fucking slow the fuck down at some point.
Well, that whole thing right there was 2 minutes, right? 2
Yeah,
minutes.
2 minutes, yeah.
And your whole thing was 60.
A good 15 seconds, I think of that.
That was great.
Well, you're
we-
being kind.
Are we gonna?
I'd say it's good. Look, here's what I give that a. I mean, I give that a 5 or 6 out of 10 because I like what I'm trying to say, but I didn't pull it off. In like brief flashes, I think it was maybe there, but I didn't stick the landing, is what I'd say.
This is tough because I like all the points you were making in it.
But I didn't stick the landing.
You stuck the landing.
How important is the landing, really, dude?
The punchline?
It's about the journey, dude. For me.
All right, I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give this a 7.9.
No, I would not even come.
Fine.
Look, I'm honest. I wouldn't even give this a 7.
I'll give it a 7.
No. You're being too kind. You're running for mayor. You need my vote.
I'm pandering. Now I'm pandering to the opposite of Doug Stanhope.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give it a 6 pending the new hour. I want to see more
Pending the
mature,
new
more
hour.
seasoned
But
Steve
minus
Byrne.
the new hour, then we go down to 5.
Well, then we'll come back and
Now we're
reevaluate.
honest. Now we're honest. I like that.
We'll come back and reevaluate. You know?
It wasn't. Look, you're being really harsh because that whole thing was getting laughs. It wasn't like you were doing stuff and the crowd wasn't in it.
You're
They
generating
were-
laughs though by the salesmanship of it.
True.
You know what I mean?
Well,
There's
just like
energy
Black Ron
behind
did.
it. You're smiling. You're selling the joke.
Yeah.
But there's not really a joke there.
Yeah.
That's my point.
That's such
I
an
got you.
interesting idea, though. Hearing you say that, where you believe in the premise of it or the point you're trying to make, but you don't think you were equipped enough at the time to land it. But now you can.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
to me to hear.
I'd like to see you do that bit now with what how you
Well, there's
say
a
you
shred of
changed
it that I'm
whatever.
putting into this new one where I'm, revisiting the first time I was told I was Asian in a very derogatory way, and then expanding upon it, and that essentially becoming the backbone of this new hour, which is kind of something I never thought would happen. But okay, well, that concludes this one. I feel horrible that we ended on my shitty clip.
I'm glad.
Can we play Jon Reep's lawnmower bit so we
dude.
can clean
Oh,
up
please.
and bring a fun
If
energy?
it makes you feel better, I have a bit where it's like, being called a redhead. I remember the day a girl called me red on the head like a dick on a dog. And I just was like, that's a thing?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know that was a thing that people say.
That's like Shakespeare,
Red on the
man.
Yeah,
Like a
I was
dick-
like,
yeah, it's Southern
beautiful.
Shakespeare.
It's not even calling me the dog. I'm the dog's dick. The dog is a step above. But I have sort of the same thing where it's like, well, you get called this a lot because
Right.
you're half Asian, and I'm a ginger. So I think everyone's got a thing that they go like, well, here's what you see and what you think, but here's how I feel and how I think.
Right on the head like a dick.
Oh,
on
it's
the dog.
horrible.
It's
It's
so
horrible.
goddamn funny. Oh God, I think is hilarious too. Is that there's a quote? I think is that,
Laugh out loud
Laugh
funny.
out loud funny.
but there's a quote on my DVD box that Jay Leno had put. It's either on the front or the back, and I did Conan just as everything blew up between Conan and Leno.
Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
And I have the clip at home, but he holds up the thing and and then you could see him just go like this, and he goes, "Steve Byrne, ladies and gentlemen." And I was like, I was
Like, who
furious at my
handed him
manager. I
that
was like,
one?
"How did you not know? Like, oh my God, they're fucking feuding right now. Oh God, awful." Okay, so
that's
another
funny.
episode of Comedy Pinata in the books. I've got to thank Jon Reep and Aaron Weber. Aaron, where can they keep up with you?
AaronWeberComedy.com is my MySpace page. Check it
There
out.
we go. And Aaron's starting to blow up. Starting to blow up. You're starting
Starting to
tour.
headline some clubs.
Yeah.
It's
Killed,
exciting.
The other night, I was in here watching the new material night. Loved your set, buddy.
Thank you, man. I
You're
appreciate
yeah.
that.
When you move to a new city, you're introduced to new comics, and I've seen you on the new material nights. But the night I saw you when we were both doing the taping, and you were helping out, and I was helping out, and you went up and did some time, and you said some gracious words. But I'll tell you, that set crushed,
Oh, thank you. man.
absolutely crushed.
Appreciate
that night. I was
that.
like, holy shit! And I looked at Lucy. I was like, right?
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
there we go.
Proud
That's
mama. Reap, where can they keep up with you? Countryish. Right?
Countryish.com. Countryish.com. We go live every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. We play games. I give money away. It's a good old time.
There we go.
Countryish.com.
And you give away residual checks.
I give
and
away
you never know what the
residual
amount
checks.
is.
No, I don't open the envelope. I've given ones away for $900, $1,100.
Amazing.
But usually they're $7.42.
Right.
But that's the fun of the game. I don't know till I open it.
All right. Well, thank you guys again. Subscribe, rate, review. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back next week. Comedy Pinata. Again, thanks to Taylor, George, and Adrian Culp. And, of course, SueTheCollector.com.
Yeah.